ආයුබෝවන් ඔස්ට්‍රේලියාවේ ඇඩ්ලේඩ් නගරයේ සිට ඔබ හමුවන මම සමෝදා සිල්වා. ඔස්ට්‍රේලියාවේ සිට කිලෝමීටර් 5000ක් විතර ඊසාන දෙසින් කියන්නේ ඔස්ට්‍රේලියාව සහ හවායි මැද්දේ පිහිටි හරිම සුන්දර පුංචි දුප්පතක් ටූවලු. සමහර විට ඔයාලා අහලත් නැතුව ඇති. ලෝකයේ 4 වෙනි පුංචිම රට ටූවලු. පින් ප්‍රමාණය වර්ග කිලෝමීටර් 26ක් විතර වෙන දුපතේ ටූවලු වරුන් 11000කට වඩා ජීවත් වෙනවා. හැබැයි තව දශක කීපයකින් මේ ටූවලු කියන නිවර්තන කලාපීය සුන්දර දූපත ලෝකෙ සිටිමින් මැකිලා යනවා. ඒ දේශගුණික අහිතකර බලපෑම නිසා.
When you think about being a Tuvaluan, and me being Australian, you want to stay where your family is. You don't want to be forced to leave just because, I don't know, some rainy day comes. But that rainy day just means so much more to them. It's quite horrifying to actually think about it.
මේ ජේම්ස් ඩීමස් ෆයිට් ෆර් ටූවලු කියන රාජ්‍ය නොවන සංවිධානයේ නිර්මාතෘ සහ සභාපති. අනාගතයේදී මුහුණ දෙන දේශගුණික බලපෑම හේතුවෙන් අසරණ වෙන ටූවලුවරුන් ආරක්ෂා කිරීම සඳහා දියත් කරන සටන ෆයිට් ෆර් ටූවලු.
So I want to ask, how did you, currently an Australian university student, get involved with the situation in Tuvalu, a country that I don't think a lot of people have heard of?
Yeah. So my sister last year did a little bit of transcribing work, which is where you add subtitles to videos. And she came across a lecture where they were actually talking about the climate ramifications of Tuvalu. And she goes, that sounds really, really interesting. You should do this for your research project. And a research project is what you do part of your SACE, so your 12 studies. Basically, it's an investigative piece on anything you want. So over the course of the holidays, I just kept researching and talking to these people, and they're really, really genuine people, and just that their voices aren't being heard is just horrible. So I came across Tuvalu indirectly from my sister because, yeah, like you said, no one actually knows about Tuvalu, which is actually a shame in itself because it is a paradise, and like I said before, the people there are just amazing. But I'm really, really fortunate that I came across it because it is now a big part of my life.
විද්‍යාත්මක අනාවැකිවලට අනුව ඉදිරි දශක කීපයක් තුළ ටූවලුවරුන්ට තම ජනාවාස අහිමිවීමට හැකියාව ඇත. කොහොම වුණත් දේශගුණික වෙනස්කම්වල අහිතකර බලපෑම් නිසා දැනටමත් විනාශයට පත්වෙමින් සිටින ඔවුන් පවසන්නේ සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම අවතැන්වීමට පෙර ඔවුන් වෙනුවෙන් ගන්නා තීරණය ඉක්මනින්ම සිදුවිය යුතු බවයි.
So how long do you think Tuvalu has before it becomes completely uninhabitable?
So I would actually kind of say now that it's completely uninhabitable. If it's in terms of when will it go actually underneath water, I reckon that we're a part of the problem if we're looking at like that. We have to avoid that problem. And you don't avoid that problem just by stating, oh, there's a problem there. You actually got to come up with solutions.
ගොවිතැන් සහ මාළු කර්මාන්ත ජීවනෝපාය කරන ටූවලු වර්තමානයේදී දේශගුණික සහ කාලගුණික වෙනස්කම්වලට පොරබනිමින් ජීවත් වන්නට සිදුවේ.
So Tuvalu, like right now, they're already seeing climate ramifications. They get heaps of cyclones. They can't grow any natural crops because seawater bed just infects them. And you're seeing large amount of people migrating just for employment and educational activities to nations like Australia and New Zealand. So the nation itself has already been affected for many years, and the Tuvaluan people are quite culture-driven people, so they want to stay with their native land. But unfortunately, when it comes to educational and economic opportunities, there's just nothing there.
ඔක්තෝබර් සිට මාර්තු දක්වා තෙත් කාලයේදී යටිතල පහස්කම් ගොවිතැන් සහ ප්‍රධාන ආහාර භෝගවලට විශාල හානි සිදු කරමින් සුලිසුලං කුණාටු ඇතිවේ. ඒ වගේම ජූනි සිට සැප්තැම්බර් දක්වා වීලි කාලයේදී ඇතිවන නියඟ නිසා පානීය ජලය හිඟවේ. මුහුදු මට්ටම ඉහළ යාම නිසා සිදුවන ජල දූෂණයෙන් ජල සම්පත භාවිතයට නුසුදුසු වී ඇත. දැනටමත් භූමියේ පසට ලවන ඇතුල්වීම නිසා ප්‍රධාන ආහාර වන කිරි අල සහ පළතුරු වගාවන් විනාශ වී ඇත. වෙරළ කාදනය වීම නිසා මාළු නිෂ්පාදනය නැවතී ඇත. දූපතේ උසම ස්ථානයේ මුහුදු මට්ටමේ සිට මීටර් 10ක් පමණ වේ. ටූවලුන්ගේ ප්‍රධාන ආර්ථික භෝගයන් කෙළවල්ලා සහ බලමාළු නිෂ්පාදනය නතර වී ඇත. මුහුදු උෂ්ණත්වයේ ඉහළ යාම නිසා කොරල් පරද හානියට පත්වේ. අතීතයේදී ස්වයං පෝෂිත රටක් තිබුණ ටූවලුන්ට අද අපනයන අඩුවී ආනායනික ආහාර මත යැපෙන්නට සිදුවිය ඇත.
You can already see the way how climate change is affecting many nations. And Tuvalu, the reason why our focus is on them is because they're really the first nation that's going to reap the repercussions of climate change. And unfortunately, they're going to act as the international test, although there's so much more than that.
So what do you say to people that deny climate change?
Yeah, I actually think if you deny climate change, that comes from a place of privilege, because that rain cloud that comes might water your lawn, right? It might be good. It won't disrupt your way to work. The roads won't be flooded. It won't disrupt your local communities. You won't have erosion of your coastal areas. You won't have a quarter of your atoll being dedicated to landfill because it can't be anywhere else. So it comes from a place of privilege because you know that you'll be okay.
Fight for Tuvalu සංවිධානය ප්‍රධාන අරමුණුවලින් එකක් වෙන්නේ අවතැන් වන ටූවලු වැසින් සඳහා දේශගුණික සරණාගතයන් ආරක්ෂා කිරීමට එක්සත් ජාතීන් හරහා නවනීති ක්‍රමයක් හඳුන්වා දීමයි.
The core issue at hand here is the unlegislated grey area, which is the 1951 Refugee Convention, whereby no one is acknowledged if they're displaced due to climate reasons, only if it's due to political or war reasons. And that was signed by, I believe it was 98 state parties. So you need all those state parties to agree to this amendment so we can pop in or displaced due to climate reasons. So then they'll be protected. Because currently in the eyes of the law, they're just seen as fish. They'll be seen as stateless, which is horrible, because when does a nation actually stop being a nation? Does it stop being a nation once it goes underneath water? We don't know. These are things that we have to confront and tackle.
So what can people do to support Fight for Tuvalu and support this whole movement?
So take the pledge, show that you acknowledge what's going on in Tuvalu, and show that you demand legislative reform to the 1951 Refugee Convention. Volunteer so you can get involved and start drafting campaigns or social media campaigns or new member inductions. Anything. You can create your own portfolio. You can do what you want, just as long as it helps the Tuvaluan people. So just show that you're there. So Sri Lanka is an island nation, and it's important that we have the support of other island nations, because they too will eventually experience the climate ramifications that are currently infringing upon Tuvalu. So it's important that they're a part of our international community, which is all for the movement. And how can they get involved? By going on our website, by educating themselves on what's happening in Tuvalu, by taking the pledge, and by volunteering, or even just commenting, just staying engaged, you know, making sure that we know that our Sri Lankan brothers and sisters are a part of our movement will just be really incredible.
And why is it important that we care about Tuvalu and about other nations that will have to go through this?
The debate around climate change has been around for so long, and the talk around climate refugees has been along for a long time as well. And the fact that no one's actually properly sought what's going to happen to people displaced due to climate reasons is really incredible. What I really hope to see in an ideal world is when there's a problem, we try to fix it. And even though it might not be directly happening to me, I don't live in Tuvalu. I honestly didn't have anything to do with the Tuvaluan nation until Fight for Tuvalu. But I acknowledge that there's a problem, and I'm there to help them. Because if it can happen to them, it can happen to anyone.
ඉතින් ජේම්ස් පවසන විදිහ මෙම අවාසනාවන්ත සිදුවීමට මුහුණ දෙන්න ටූවලුවරුන් වෙනුවෙන් ඉදිරිපත් වීම අප සැමගේ යුතුයකම සහ වගකීම වුණ ඇත. කරුණාකර www.fightfortuvalu.com වෙබ් පිටුවට ගිහිල්ලා ඔබගේ වටිනා කාලෙන් විනාඩියක් ගත කළා ඒ සැමගේ හරිම අහිංසක ජීවිත බේරා ගැනීමට ඔබ සැමගේ වටිනා ප්‍රතිඥාව දීමට කාරුණික වෙන්න. මම සමෝදා සිල්වා ඇඩ්ලේඩ් නගරයේ සිට ආයුබෝවන්.